Cool. Okay, we're all good to go, all recording. Good to see you both. And so, as per usual, we'll give it back to you for any questions around anything you like, and we'll jump right into the call.
Is Kathy on?
Yep.
Yep, I'm on. Hi, Annie.
Hi, Kathy. Nice to speak with you.
All right. For some reason, my video is not working. I don't know why, because it was working just a minute ago.
Yes, you were working when I first came on, Lynn, and then I went off and got the other headphones, and then I lost you, and I have got a blank screen with you at the moment.
I know, right?
But I did see you momentarily.
Oh, I know. Don't know what's going on. Ah, hello.
There you are. You're back.
Well done.
It's too hot to be bothered with technology type
That's okay.
things. How are you doing?
Happy anniversary to you, just by the way, Lynn.
Thank you very much, considering I forgot. How terrible is
Yes,
that?
I know. I love the way you shared that. It was very, very honest of you.
Well, it was my exact reaction, you know, like, bloody hell. I was like,
are human.
And I picked up my phone and I went, oh, it is.
That she put up that Dr. Maura McGill had about the hormones, and that is gold. I think a video like that. In fact, I've kept that in my favourites so that when I've got my page up, I think that would be awesome to share with people. So thank you for that.
Yeah, she was great. She is a really, really nice lady.
Yeah,
really super. In fact, I think in all the videos and resources section in the course, things. So she's in my network. Dr. Maura McGill, she's very good. She uses blood, so she's uses blood to test hormones. However, without getting into too much, science, in order to use blood work, it's important to test SHGB. Okay, so that's serum hormone binding globulin. So that way, because blood, remember I said blood tests both. Okay, so when you test the SHGB, that it tests the level of hormone binding globulin. So then what happens is you're able to see what percentage of the results is bound and which is not. Okay, so that's how you're able to use blood. But not all doctors, when they test hormones, they do SHGB, you see. So there's the difference, okay, from a doctor that actually knows what she's doing when it comes to testing with blood and hormones and stuff like that.
Lynn, can I ask you, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can, Kathy.
I was just wondering if you know of anyone up on the Sunshine Coast. Because I was thinking further from last week's call how important it is to have the right network, you know, and support crew around you so you could refer to. And I mean, certainly I'd be more than happy to refer to Maura, but for the local people, most people want to do local.
Yeah.
And I just wonder, because it's pretty hard to find someone like Maura, that caliber.
Yeah, she's super duper. She is really, really nice. And I love her Irish accent. There was someone on the Gold Coast. I can't for the life of me think offhand who it is. Sorry, on the Gold Coast, on the Sunshine Coast, who it was. So I'll have a look. I just can't remember who exactly it is, but I will definitely have a little look-see and put that in the group for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just can't remember the name offhand, but
fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah,
really good.
It's really good. And it's also good, like I did those interviews quite a few years ago, and it's really good to do those sort of interviews, because not only does it sort of give you a little bit of credibility, you know, when you are interviewing, you know, hormone experts, you're kind of hanging out with them, but also it really backs up what you're doing. Okay, so that, even though that video was only like what 2.5 minutes long or something like that, you know, it really gave credence to the importance of hormone testing. Okay.
Yeah, that was really good. I enjoyed that video too.
Yeah, it was very simple, you know, very simple, but it's quite bizarre when you know, I mean, because people really do think doctors are God, you know, and hey, they do great work, they really do, and they do, you know, 7-8 years, whatever it is, behind, you know, learning all about this too. But when we touched base last week, you know, don't ever doubt yourself when it comes to what you know, because everything I know, I have simply learned from interviewing Maura, from talking to Maura, from Mia, the naturopath, and from also and you know, so you don't actually have to have the degree to know what you're talking about. And then when you do put up little interviews like that, it just adds that credibility, you know, behind what you're actually doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and makes it for some people, makes it a little bit more, they'll be more confident in it too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Well, it even makes me more confident in it when I hear someone like that speaking so well, and I go, oh, I want everybody to hear her. So if it excites me, it's going to be really great for our potential our clients down the track. So that's why I think there's a lot of value in that. Fortunately, I've just sourced somebody relatively close to home that I'm actually going to go and meet with her next week, and because she's a naturopath and specialises in women's hormones, which is wonderful, and it just came up on a Facebook post of mine, and so I'm going to go and meet with her and just see how well we gel together. But I know that that was sort of something you recommended, wasn't it, Lynn, to sort of try to find somebody that did specialise in hormones, and ideally somebody that you might be able to refer on to, and vice versa. So, you know, those people are out there. You've just got to, just be in the right circles and do your own research.
To see if you actually gel, because, you know, sometimes you're not always on the same page. You know, for example, Mia is an amazing lady, but you know, and so she's into recommending food according to your blood type. That's I can't really comment, but it's not something that you know, I just prefer. It doesn't have to me. It doesn't have to be that technical, you know. To me, it's you know, look, Mediterranean diet type sort of thing. Find out what your intolerances are and stuff like that. Okay, so that side of it doesn't really gel with me, but I know what else she knows. I know how she is with clients, and she's got amazing results and stuff like that. You know, so you know, that's the important part when it comes to hormones. Okay, so yeah, it's always good to meet with them.
I will. That's another thing that I can just sort of tick off the list of sort of just making, you know, getting a nice network of people around me as well. So it's just a work in progress. We all are.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I had I was at work today, and I'm starting to just let people know what I'm doing, and 4 of the 5 ladies said, oh, we could have used you like already, because they're all in that stage in their lives. And I was just thinking, it's such a good market, you know, it's such a big area that people need help with. and they're looking for natural solutions instead of HRT, and you know, sometimes if it's not necessary. So it was just really encouraging to hear that there's so much interest, you know, in that space. So I was glad to hear it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good niche that you're into, Kathy, you know. So I mean, nurses are really overworked. You know, they do a lot of night shift, and you know, I mean, I worked in a hospital many years ago, so I seen the long hours that nurses do, and the amazing work, you know, that they do. So and food wise too, some of them go without breaks, and you know, it's they're on their feet 24/7, and you know, water consumption is down, and yeah,
chocolates,
you know,
and lollies around.
Oh boy, yeah, they were always sitting on the counter. Yeah. I worked in critical care in ICU for a few years, many years.
Oh wow, yeah, that's where I used to work. But yeah, it's busy, and people don't have time to have a break. You know what I mean? So it's tricky, challenging.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is. So I know what you know, nurses do. They do a wonderful job, and really long hours.
Yeah.
And a lot of my clients were nurses too, happy nurses.
Oh yeah. There you go. Yep, and you got results, because they can't change the shift work, but they can adapt their diets and their stress in other areas of their lives, I suppose.
Yes, unfortunately, night shift plays a huge part, you know, because we're not supposed to be up at night time. We're supposed to be sleeping. So it really does shift our circadian rhythm and our biological clock. And it's actually been proven. And I also watched a documentary on it a few years ago. I can't even remember. Might have been on as far as obesity goes. And they, you know, they interviewed and followed you know, I can't remember how many, but you know, a good population of people in different jobs, but in working night shift, and something like 85% of them were all overweight.
Yeah, I believe
You
that.
know, from taxi drivers to you know, in hospitals, to all sorts, whether they sat, whether they you know, were standing or whatever. But and their diet and things like that. So it has been proven that being up at night time increases cravings, because you know, of your leptin and your ghrelin in your brain. So your ghrelin is your hunger hormone, and your leptin is your full hormone, and so those are altered. So it increases cravings for, you know, sugars and breads and carbohydrates and things like that. But yeah, it is one of the biggest causes of overweight and obesity.
Yeah. So did you get reasonable results with people who were shift workers?
Yeah, I did. The biggest thing is if they have no other underlying issues, Kathy, you know, you can do reasonably well. But when you get someone that's on night shift, that has thyroid issues, that you know, has maybe blood sugar issues, has trouble sleeping, you know, but the problem is that all those health issues were caused by years of night shift.
Yeah.
Okay, the stress on the body. Yeah. Which is a catch-22, you know.
Yeah, you can't do it forever.
No, you can't. And my husband does night shift, and I noticed the big difference in him when he comes home, because he's got to suddenly change. He does like 4 weeks of night shift, then he comes home and he has to suddenly change to sleeping, you know, at night. And it really does put a huge strain on the body changing over for just 1 week and then going back and doing it. So it's a really, really big stress. And I do believe that it had a big implication or a big part to play in his heart attack because of the stress on his body. Okay, and the lack of sleep. He doesn't sleep that well.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because his diet is not really that so if we look at other areas, and this goes for women, you know, their predispositions, okay, so yes, family history of heart disease, okay, and cholesterol, yes, his cholesterol was high, but not that high. I've seen higher in other people. And blood pressure, okay, borderline high. All right, so already there you've got 3 risk factors, okay? You add night shift on top of that, which is a big stress on the body, okay? And lack of sleep, another big stress. Being away from family, another big stress.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah. And then you add exercise every second day on top of that as another stress. Then you have camp food, which he tries to eat really, really healthy with what the choices that he's got, you know, it's another added. All right, so you just, it's like any woman, and for nurses, you know, you got to look at the history and the predispositions to start with. Okay, take away all those other stresses, those 3 probably would be okay, you know.
Yeah.
But you compound other stresses on top of stress, and particularly night shift. You've got, you know, a recipe for disaster, really.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And it's also just doing different shifts too.
Yeah. The biggest one is when they alternate, you know, even if it's 2 weeks night shift, 2 weeks day, 2 weeks night, 2 weeks, you know, that's even worse.
Yep. Absolutely. So yeah, so I think it is a big market.
It is.
So yeah, I'm just trying to make sure that I've got everything set up before I launch, you know. So I think in about 3 months' time, I think I should have everything good to go.
Mm-hmm.
But and I will do that course you recommended last time, Dr. Jessica Drummond and Dr.
Yeah, it's called Hormones 101, and that's a really good, cost-effective foundation.
Yeah, so I think that'll be good, and just getting all the marketing and Facebook and everything right. So it's really nice to have it as you've got all laid out. It's really good. So it's just a matter of working through it very just methodically. That's what I'm finding anyway.
I'm with you, Kathy, on that. I'm just taking my time step by step. I'm not rushing it. I want to do it well, and so that's why I am not putting in a start date at this point in time, because I just want to do it to the best of my ability. And with the Believe program in there at the moment, I don't know about you, but I'm just finding I'm putting a lot of my energy into that, which is important. And I think that's only going to help with the launch of my hormone program. So, yeah, I just sort of feel as I'm being pulled in lots of directions, but at the same time, I'm just taking it step by step.
Yeah. I think that sounds really good to do it that way.
Yeah. Well, I feel I'm in control as best I can, even though it's all new and it's all exciting. I do want to do it well, so don't want to start until I really think that I've really mastered it as best I can. And I know then it's only time, and as Lynn keeps on saying, the more you do it, the better you get at it. But nevertheless, I really want to try to have a grip on it and get the marketing side of things right from the outset, rather than back and do things better
that
later.
sounds good. And then you have to be prepared for the people that might want your service if you have a very good program in place with your marketing.
I know, that's right.
Yeah, because
right.
Lynn, you were saying when you put your campaign out, you had like 200 people a week or something. So
yeah,
I mean, that's possible.
So I had 200 leads a week. Okay, so not every one of those is going to answer the phone or want your services. So you know, the biggest part there was ringing them. Okay, so just going through and ringing and just having a system at ringing them. But you know, because it's like anything, you know, you're going to have, even in the gym, you have lots of people come in through the door, but not every one of them is going to want your services, you know, or personal training or something like that, you know. So it's the same as online. So you know, you just have to go through the numbers in order to get the ones that you do that do want your services. It's no different from at a gym or anything like that.
And like you said, like Arthur and Paul has said, if you've got your marketing right, you'll attract the right kinds of people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the brilliance of what Paul teaches, you know, really honing in on your niche. Okay, so when I did my marketing, my Facebook marketing, I wasn't taught that those years ago. Okay, so really what I did was I just put it out there to the masses. Okay, so and I didn't really have a niche, like as in a niche and inside niche, apart from women 40 plus, right? So, you know, and I targeted Australia and New Zealand. So that's like millions of women. All right. So I wasn't taught those skills of really narrowing it down and really defining it so that the leads coming in become really quality leads. All right. So that's the difference. So I got a lot of leads come through, but not all of them were good quality leads. Okay. So so Paul really teaches the specifics of bringing in quality leads over quantity, right? So you know, it's all very well to say I brought in 200, which is really good, but you know, if I could have had them at more quality, even if I had half of them quality leads, that would have been better. But you know, my skills, that's hence why, you know, Paul has joined with his Facebook expertise, was because I didn't have that knowledge, because I was just learning. So basically I was like, how do you do this? Okay, I just went and did it without being taught or anything like that.
Very brave of you, Lynn. Or was it just a matter of having to?
Yeah, it was like, okay. And that was through a business mentor that just said, this is what you have to do. And I'm like, okay, so how do we do that? So it was just, you know, fumbled my way through and figured it out and pushed the button and said, okay, so let's see what happens. And it just so happened that it was a real success overnight. So it wasn't something that I skillfully, you know, put together. It was kind of like push the button and hope for the best, really. And it did. And from there, from what I did, Paul has mastered that and has really defined it for you so that you can you know, not really have that shotgun approach like I did, you know.
How long did you just manage it on your own for, Lynn? Like most of us at the moment are just sort of managing it on our own, your program, but how long before Paul came on board and sort of helped you really bring it all together as well as what it has? Are we talking years or?
No.
Oh, no.
No. So I would have really started, would have been probably at the beginning a year ago that I really started, my coaching business really started to skyrocket. So probably this time last year, I was really starting to get a bit of momentum happening. Yeah. And it started to grow and grow to, you know,
Yep.
a six-figure business, and you know, bringing on a telemarketer and all that sort of stuff. And then I, you know, I decided that it was time to. I mean, I love coaching women, but my passion has always been educating personal trainers.
Ah, gotcha.
And,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's where I decided to go into, you know, really marketing the hormone enhancement program, and that's when I, you know, decided to look for someone that can help me do that. And Paul was there. I can't remember when that was. Maybe July, August, or something.
Oh, not that long.
You're funny. You've got a timeline like a rabbit. It was
No wonder I forgot my anniversary.
yeah, we've been working together now. I think it's kind of nudging a couple of years. I think.
Yeah, like a couple of years, but like really honing in on the hormone enhancement program, and that hasn't been a couple of years. We've been working together a couple of years, but
Yeah,
just
well,
on the
yeah. When I first started, Lynn was running the that ebook campaign.
yeah.
And we were our first attempt. I forget how we were attracting customers. We were doing webinars, I think.
Yeah.
And I was kind of teaching myself as I went at that stage a couple of years ago. So look, it's been a couple of years, I think. Yeah, that we've been doing it, and you know, you guys will have it so much easier having.
We do.
Well, having not just that, but I mean, having an actual gym. You know, we get to teach you the benefits of just bypassing all the mistakes that we made.
Yeah.
And it really will. It'll be so much simpler for you because, you know, when you have people ringing you up or however you're going to direct them to you, like we get, my favorite question is this one. They ask this before they ask any other question. How much does it cost? And it's always my favorite question because they're like, they don't know what you're asking yet, you know? And, you know, traditionally you'd kind of get in there and you'd say, oh, well, we do so many sessions for this amount of money, and people go, okay, well, I'll think about it. And, you know, you never see them again. But because you've got such a unique proposition, and you really do, no one else is really doing much with it. So when they ring up and they say, oh, how much is it? And, you know, it's like, well, I have got no idea, my dear. I've got no idea what's going on with you. What stage of menopause are you at? What's going on? And then they just start pouring out their emotions like you guys do in the Believe program. And then you say, I think we better have a chat, eh? But how about you come in and we have a chat? Oh, okay. And all of a sudden you've made a friend and away you go. So it's a lot simpler, I think, you know, than bringing through people the process that we've done, even though you can do that. And that's really effective as well. I think you'll find it a lot simpler, you know, with physical gyms.
Yeah. And as you say, Paul, you're not trying to sell them anything. You've got something that they want, and you can solve their problems.
Yeah, and you don't need to. That's right, Annie. You'll find that as you kind of move through, obviously, your own training with what we're teaching you, and certainly with the Believe program, when you begin to speak to ladies, and you know, you're saying that we deal with menopausal weight loss and we do it very differently. There's just a different energy. People will just be attracted to what you do, and they're going to want to know more. And, you know, you're going to have a very specific niched training system. And you'll know, you'll be looking for the right people to work with. But by the time we're done with you, you know, you'll, forgive the expression, you know, you'll be the one selecting people more so than just trying to grab everybody. So it's a very different buzz. It's much more of a attraction process than anything else. It's quite magical.
Yeah, it is. It is. It really is. And you start attracting people all the time, but not everyone is someone that you want to work with. And I'll give you an example, and it's just happened to me recently. Actually, I had someone that I did a consultation with, maybe middle of last year. maybe. And she wasn't ready for it. It was financially she wasn't ready for it. Anyway, she contacted me again a few weeks ago, yes, in the new year, and said, yes, I'm really ready to go for it. This is what I want. And so I spoke to her again, and I said, great, okay. So I took her on as a client. And then she says, I'm not really good with tasks, daily tasks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just really overwhelming. And look, I'm going back to uni, and I'm doing this and the kids, and I just really don't have time, and I'm really getting overwhelmed with all the tasks that you're giving to me to do. We hadn't even started.
Oh, no.
And you know, it was just the email. So I rang her up and I said, look, I'm going to send you out the saliva kit. I said, we don't actually do one-on-one coaching as such as saliva tests and then, you know, anything like that. But I said, I really don't think that this coaching program is for you, because if you're not good at doing daily tasks, then it's obvious that you're not really ready to move forward just yet. Okay.
And how did she take that?
Oh, fine. It was almost like
a relief. Okay.
Yeah, for her.
Had she paid you anything?
Yeah, she'd paid. Yeah.
Okay.
But the thing is like the point that I'm trying to make is I'm not going to take on someone that is going to complain the whole way through it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't take on simple tasks like changing a couple of things in her diet and drinking more water.
Mm-hmm.
She's just going to end up in the too hard basket. Okay. And personally, I don't want to waste my time with someone that is just really not ready to do it.
That's right.
Because what happens is women want to do it, okay, but really they don't, you know.
Yeah.
They do, but they really don't, right? So it's easier to say, look, thank you very much. When you are really, really ready, come back and see. Okay?
Yeah.
And another lady approached us as well, and I put her on to our coach that we have. And she said, oh, no, thank you. It's too expensive. And our coach was just telling me today, no, thank you, it's too expensive. I said, okay, great. Anyway, then back in my group, she messaged me and she said, oh, can we just, you know, is there a way I can just buy a saliva kit and without doing the coaching? And so I said, sure, absolutely there is. I said, you can buy the saliva kit from Australian clinical labs off there, because we're not wholesale. That's not what we're here for, is just to buy and sell saliva kits. So of course you can purchase that off there. I said, but be mindful that you do not get the personalised program, and you do not get the personalised fitness and the personalised coaching specific to your hormones, meal advice specific to your hormones and your current hormonal situation. And what you don't get also is the accountability and the understanding of where you are at this point in time and how you can move forward to make change moving forward. And a message come back and says, Lynn, can I do the coaching program, please?
Okay. All right. There you go.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So she can just be passed on to Kiri, our coach. But you know, yeah. So it's funny. First of all, it was too expensive. Then you wanted to buy a kit. And then when you reframe it, say, of course you can, and reframe it, and you can have that, but this is what you don't get.
That's right. Then she goes, oh.
Yeah. Right. So yeah.
No point in her really doing the saliva test unless she has an understanding of what it's suggesting. And that's where our job comes in, doesn't it? Is to be able to read that test and then to advise them. So,
yeah. Program.
That's the value.
If they just want a kit, they can go to the place.
Of course they can. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Lynn, can I ask you just something I've been thinking about is, so I've got 3 colleagues who are all either perimenopausal or menopausal, all having symptoms, and they are all sort of aware of my journey of what I'm doing. And I was thinking, because I will do the Hormones 101 and I will methodically go through the course and become really good at it. But I was thinking about putting them through the program and they just pay for the saliva test. So I wouldn't be out of pocket, but I would actually use them as my pilot. Because it's quite 3 different stories, you know. And I was just wondering whether that's a good idea or not.
It is a good idea. It's the same as Paul and I. You know, we do that in exchange for a testimonial.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Because I don't have anyone to say about what I'm doing, right? So that would be a nice reward. Hopefully, after having achieved some good results for them.
Yeah. You just offer it to them on the understanding that at the end they'll give you a video testimonial.
Yeah. And so I would say, I would just do like a 3-month sort of program with them, and they should see some definite improvements within that time. And then I think that would help me in my confidence too. To be honest, I think just to know that I can interpret it and I can actually cater their programs for their individual needs. I think that would be good, because they are very different kind of ladies. I think it would be good.
Have you got anything more to add to that, Paul?
Can you just repeat that last part?
She was just saying that she had 3 ladies to put through a pilot, like a pilot program.
Sorry, yeah, I did hear that. No, like Lynn said, we do testimonials, and just think of it, as case studies and beta testing, and charge. I mean, I always say charge something. I don't do it for free because people don't tend to value things that are free. So, look, I think it's a great opportunity for you to do that. Have you thought about your pricing?
No, I haven't. I haven't really. I think for me, it would be more about getting confident about what I'm delivering and the program and the structure, and they would give me some really good, honest feedback on it. So I've got a very good relationship with all 3 of them, and I think I rely on them for that,
Okay, well, I'm going to recommend that you don't. I mean, obviously take their feedback, but unless they're in business, I wouldn't recommend getting pricing advice from non-people in business. It doesn't make sense, to me anyway. But I look at it basically. If you want to price it in a comparative way, and this has got a point, so I'll come back to it. Obviously, you've got your saliva saliva test. Oh, come on. That thing that you spit into? The saliva test. So you've got, $120 odd. You've got to look at that, you're going to be doing somewhere between 4 to 8 sort of relative sessions, as a ballpark, and you'll have your kind of in your mind, your hourly rate or whatever you're wanting to charge for that. So I think it's important to put that together. But at the same time, I want you to be aware that you have in front of you the opportunity to move away trading time for money type pricing. And that may come with a bit of confidence for you in time, and that's okay as well. But as Danny is, we've lost Danny. He must be busy because I know he was doing well. He brought on his first customer at $800 up front for whatever program it was that he was promoting. Lynn and myself, we were doing 5-7 online program. And to give you a great example, we brought on most of you into this program at the entry beta point price, and then we realized that it was valuable, and we knew that we were heading towards 5,600 as the ultimate price. 5,800. And as we kind of got towards the limit of what we were wanting to achieve with beta testers, we put the price up just to see how that was received. Still under the 5.8, but above the entry one at 2.5, which some of you came in on. And there wasn't a blinking of an eyelid. It's still great value. So look, what I'm getting at, Kathy, is it's important to have some kind of figure in mind with a couple of remaining mentoring clients that I've got in a different space. We've got one lady who does virtual gastric plans, which of course is just a different way of saying hypnosis to stop eating. She's progressed from doing, I think it was $250 per session, which obviously is relative to the process that she's doing. Then she charged $450 to do a 4 weekly group session. So she's jumped up from going $250 a session to putting 10 people in a room at $450. So there's a big jump in income. And now we're telling her to double her price again and build an online platform. So if you can just hear what I'm saying, the value is relative to your customer, not to you. And I just think it's important that you just give that some consideration and just charge your beta testers, $250 or something. You got to cover costs.
Yeah.
So charge your bare minimum, and then what I'm going to suggest to you is by the end of it, you'll probably at least double it, if not double it twice, by the time you got your confidence up and you're ready to go.
Okay, well, thank you for that. That's good.
What you have to remember is you know more than what they do, and it doesn't matter whether you have not done it before. They are going to take away a lot of value from you. Okay, so whether you are confident in yourself or not, they are going to get a lot of value from you. All right, and that in itself is of value, and monetary value. Okay. So yeah, but it's always important to add that onto the end. On the end there. So. Yeah, that's really important. But and it's true. Paul is right. People don't value free things.
Is that my dog?
But what a comedy show! I've got the crow call in the background like Graham Kennedy. I've got kookaburras laughing at somebody, and Annie's got a werewolf.
We're back onto a golf course, and it's evening time here. It's nearly 9 o'clock, and the last of the golfers are on the course, and she's just figuring that they should not be out on the golf course because it's at dusk, and normally during the day she takes no notice of them, but she's just sort of saying, what are you doing out there at this time of the day? So I'm surprised you can hear us, but it's quite a growl, isn't it?
Oh, well, she's your protector, hey?
She sure is.
So, getting back to that, and Paul had a really, really good point. Group coaching is so much more not only time efficient, but financially rewarding. Okay, and the only thing that you would have to do for a one-on-one is the actual consultation where you interpret their hormones. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the only sort of one-on-one type sort of thing that you can do. That is the constant thing. But as far as group. So those 3 ladies, you could do it on group online.
Well, that's a great idea, because I don't have a lot of time because I'm working so much. So that would actually be really efficient.
Yeah. So exactly what we're doing now.
Yeah, you could do a Zoom or something.
Yeah. You can, yeah, you know, all the information you can send prior, you know, it can be just done like this. And but the only one-on-one, you know, would be just, you know, looking at their hormones and their blood work and that, and doing like a 30-minute consultation outside that, you know.
Yeah. I really like that idea.
Yeah.
Because I tend to over-service when I've done personal training, anything in the past. I've given too much. So that's not necessarily good either, is it? So,
well, it's always good to under-promise and over-deliver, you know, but at the same time, you know, you've got to add value to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that sounds good. And it's quite convenient too.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's recorded. You can record it as well. So, you know, you can put together a little Facebook group, and for those that want to rewatch it as well.
Yeah. Terrific. I'll do that.
Good idea.
Yeah. I had another quick question. Sorry. Does anyone else have any questions, Annie?
No, go for it, Kathy.
One thing I do in my role is something called simulation. Have you heard of it?
Explain a little bit further as far as what you mean by, I mean, I know what simulation means, but how do you do that? What?
It just occurred to me that what you're doing would be really value added by adding a layer of simulation. I'm just thinking, for me, what it is you take a story, okay? So in your example, you might take yourself going through a series of videos of you interviewing, interpreting, and then in the simulation, you have a new person, like, say, Annie or myself, being you. And then you give feedback on that short session in terms of what went well and what didn't go well. So it's just a way to really identify the gaps in your skills, knowledge, and performance so you can improve. So we use it in health. For example, we have a patient who comes in with a heart attack. And so we will look at crisis resource management skills, and we'll look at the protocols where they followed, that sort of thing. So I know it's being used extensively now in different fields like psychology and LI. Without being too academic, but it's a really nice, simple way to really get powerful learnings in a very short period of time by observation and guided debriefing. Does that make sense? And so you can take a 2-minute chat, a 5-minute chat. It doesn't have to be a huge, big scenario. Just can be like, it's kind of similar to, if you think of a case study, it's similar to that, but it's the added component of observed performance with feedback in a real situation, if that makes sense, or a dummy situation. So you can take a test case of a couple of key themes of different types of clients that you see all the time, and then it might be around what is that initial conversation you have. So it's similar to what so the PowerPoint Paul gave it's just kind of utilizing those same concepts, but in a more interactive way, if that makes sense. So you're actually participating in the learning as you go, and it's really, you remember it because you've done it. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that's appropriate or not, but I use it a lot, and I find it really helpful to teach. So I'm just thinking, as a learner, that could be a really good way as well. Really, if you look up health simulation, you'll find it's really well supported, well documented, well researched, extensively used in health and education sectors, but also in technology fields in aviation. Many different industries are using it.
So my question is, is it done in a classroom situation? Is it done in like a you know, for you being in a hospital ward, or, you know, how is it done? You know, yeah, how do you conduct it?
Yeah, great question. So there's a different number of platforms you can use. So you can do virtual, so that can be completely online. So you can do it online at a computer, depending on the nature of what kind of objectives you have for the session. Or it might be in a lab. We might set up a fake sort of ward, you know, or it might be just an interview room, because it's actually about communication skills and breaking bad news, for example.
Right.
So there's a number of different options, but in this case, it could be done remotely, just online. I think with the technology these days, it'd be quite simple to generate something like that. We actually have an independent observer, then you have the what we call confederates, or your fake patient, right? And then you have the learner, so it might be one of us guiding that person through, and then you would be observing it. It would be like a short, sharp, it wouldn't be the whole, you know, half-hour thing. It would be the key things that you think are vital within those first few interviews, or for example, the interpretation of results. Because what you do so well, you're probably not even aware of how well you do it. Do you know what I mean? So you're an unconscious competent. So right now, I don't know about you, Annie, but I feel like a conscious incompetent.
Oh,
but
I'm with you, Kathy.
And so just having your guidance and mentorship to walk through those, you know, just the vital bits, not the whole thing, just some things that would be a really good basic, I guess, skill level that would be absolutely critical for us to be really successful in this. And there's lots of templates. There's lots of, you know, if you were interested, I did some courses on it and did some work in that space. But I think that it lends itself quite well to this. But it's really hard to describe without you sort of seeing it. You know?
Yeah, I'm just trying to imagine how it could work, you know, as far as, yeah. I think it's brilliant.
I think you could use it at the end. So you know how you've got everything, you know, nicely laid out in your program. You could just put an extra section in there, the evaluation of how you went, and it could be like in a simulation type methodology. So it could be quite a nice, I guess, all-rounder to sort of put the icing on the cake for it. And it would be quite innovative.
So for example, if there was like a module at the end, that can be like an online, for lack of another word, Kathy, kind of like a test type sort of thing, situation, but simulating, you know, just putting you, and that can be done online. There's an online app, or
it's not an app. It's not an app. It's like there's it's not an app. There's how shall I put it? It's kind of like it's not an app, but it's quite a simple. There's a simple formula. Put it that way.
Right.
That you could adopt, that you don't have to have a degree in it, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And I used it when I was teaching at uni. I used it all the time to assess medical students for different things. And I could tell immediately within a few minutes how well that person was going and whether they actually understood the content and if they were able to deliver it in a really effective way. and then could give them just a summary of how they went. And that really was helpful, of course, so that they can be clear on what they need to improve on and what they're really good at. And you know what I mean? Just really practical, objective feedback, I think, is really important in a program.
I think that's very interesting, Kathy. I really like it. If you wouldn't mind, you know, sending something to me, or if you know, as far as how that could be implemented online in you know, incorporated in what we do, like as in far as if you can do, you know, the back office of where the course is, how that could slot in there, you know, at the end. It's really, really good.
Sure. And I'll send you some references if you wanted to read more about it.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
There's a lot of free things online, actually, that are really fantastic resources. You just got to know where to look, like with everything, isn't it? Yeah, sure.
Thanks, Kathy. That's great.
Kathy, would that be something that's just being used in this learning stage that we're all part of at the moment? Is that when it would be of most value?
Yeah.
I think so too, but I believe in ongoing peer review for, I know, sorry, that sounds a bit nursey, but you know, you if you don't use it, you lose it, and sometimes we have challenges, and it's that's why it's really important to sort of check how you're going along the way. Someone else can offer often some good feedback on you on how you went, and you know, so I don't know, it can be used just at the beginning or you know, intermittently, depending on.
I think that's a good idea. You know, it could be used like, because you can have continued access to the course. You can have continued access to come in and pop in anytime to do a review type sort of thing, and it can just be like, if it could be just like submitted online and then we receive it, you know, if someone wanted to do it 3 monthly, 6 monthly, or whatever, you know, entirely up to them. So that's pretty good. I like it.
Well, I'll send you some broad strokes on some thoughts anyway. Maybe on the weekend, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
So in other words, Lynn would be able to sort of look at it in her own time and then give you the feedback afterwards. Is that what you would be suggesting there, Kathy?
Well, it depends on the structure of how you set it up. So you can do one where you post your, but you'd have to have a, it's very, without wanting to take up too much time, you do need to have a bit of understanding of the key ingredients for it. And one thing is you need to have someone acting as your patient, for example. So they'd have a script, right? So it can be done online and retrospectively observed and marked. But real time would be really valuable too, because if someone stuffs up, right, it's really nice to be able to stop at that point and interrupt that moment before they go too far off the garden path, you know? So live is preferable, but there are online ones where you can certainly do it at your own pace, and then the person who's the convener can look at any time. And so there's many different different possibilities.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Food for thought there, Lynn.
I know, right?
Yeah.
All
right.
That's really good. So, did we just have someone else on? Who was just on?
We had Amy. She was but she might have lost connection or something.
I was just going to say hello to her. Yeah.
Mine didn't say Amy as in the name. I had a fellow's name on there. You there?
Yeah, no, it said Amy. It said Amy, then RO, so it might look like Amro or something.
Oh, beg your pardon. Okay. Oh, right. Yes. All right. All ran together. Yeah. Gone now.
Okay. I haven't met Amy, so I was just going to say hello, and see if she had any questions.
Okay.
Maybe give her a hello on the recording.
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, Amy. Yeah, so if you have any questions, I think we lost you, Amy. So if you have any questions, pop them into the group, and I'll be sure to answer them for you. Absolutely.
Well, thanks very much once again.
Yeah, thanks, Kathy. Thanks, Amy.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Kathy.
See ya.
If you're watching the replay, thank you. Any questions, please just get back to either Paul or myself.
Thanks heaps, guys. Ladies.
See ya.
Sorry.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.